Hello and welcome. I am starting to work in my new junk journal, which I made in the previous video today. I didn't have a clear idea about what the purpose of this journal was going to be before I made it. I just wanted to work in a new journal, had some ideas about colours I wanted to use, and I had a collection of old book covers, which I wasn't sure what I was going to choose from when I was going to start. But I decided I ended up using a little golden book for the cover, which I am in love with. I love the colourful look, and I've used some of its pages on the inside. And I was trying to decide between working, like really theming it, so making it be a collection of quotes or coming up with a series of prompts to work in it. But what I've actually decided is that I am much too changeable for that, and I'm just going to do whatever I feel. So I feel like it's just got to be things that are important to me, and it could be a quote or it could be a to-do list or a plan. So I think I'm just going to keep it loose and just enjoy working in it. So today it's not a perfect quote because I'm not checking it, but there is something written by Michael Lunig in the Curly Pajama Letters, which I really love. And as I recall it, it's what is worth doing and what is worth having. It is worth doing nothing and having a rest. So I'm starting off with some letter stickers. I actually feel quite scared to use letter stickers sometimes. So I was being very brave, going through and pulling out a whole bunch of letter stickers that I like. I'm just trying to find some. I know that I have some. I know that there are some in these sticker books. I do really love sticker books, but they're all quite small, so I don't actually end up using any of these from these sticker books, but I have a collection of some other ones which I end up using. But I decided that it would be the best to start off with a bit of a theme for the journal, and I feel like it's sort of a theme which allows me to do whatever I want. But I think I'm going to have the first page illustrate the word "what is worth doing." And I do think it is worth doing nothing. I think it's an important thing to do sometimes, but also I spend a lot of time doing things, and I really love doing, and I think that it's worth doing nothing some of the time, as well as doing other things as well. So I'm going to start off by doing this lettering. Now, I don't want it to look nice and straight and perfect, but I do want it to be balanced and centered in the page. And so I was having a think about how I might achieve that, and I decided on some baking paper. So I have just grabbed a piece of paper from the kitchen. I'm just sticking it down so it doesn't move around too much. And the stickers will only just barely stick to this, so I'll be able to position them later. So I don't want it to be nice and straight. If I did, I probably would put a line, like draw a line on this, but because I'm wanting them to still be wonky, but I want them to sit balanced and fairly centered on the page, I'm using this to help me. I think it can be quite difficult, even when you're just writing, to anticipate the spacing that you need. So that can be quite difficult to, you think you've got enough space and then you end up squeezing your letters in, or you start squeezing them in and you end up with lots of space at the end. So sticking them out like this first is going to help me position it. I wrote it out on paper before, but I realized that I'd written it much too small and it wasn't going to be helpful. So this is the thought that came to me in the moment, and actually has been quite helpful. Some of those solid single colour stickers didn't stick as well to the baking paper. I feel like they're a bit older, those ones. that's why you should never hoard your stickers, because I find that after a while they start to be sad. So you gotta use them. But I found that this worked quite well. I was quite happy with the result in the end. And the good thing about this is that, not that I ended up not liking any of these stickers, but I have a chance to take them up, because I am known to stick a sticker down and not like the placement and have to pick it up again. So this was actually quite helpful. The other thing that I was contemplating for this journal after I'd made it is, am I wanting to work in here with wet media? Am I wanting it to be more of an art journal, or is it mostly a cut and stick journal? And even though I really want to be working with more wet media for some things, I feel like this one is going to end up being more of a cut and stick journal. I think that I don't know, it's difficult to work out exactly what it is you want to do, and I feel like this one just lends more towards that. It can also be the fact that I feel a bit scared. I haven't been doing a lot of art journaling recently, and I really want to get back into it, but it is freaky and scary sometimes. So I feel like this is more of the warm-up. This is the journal where I'm not going to have to wait for things to dry. I am going to be able to play around with lots of the supplies that I have, but I am going to be starting an art journal as well, and it may be that later I'm going to feel more comfortable to do a mixture of the two a bit more, but for now the happiness of this one is just going to be pulling together supplies and colours that I'm enjoying, and then cutting and sticking and putting things down. So I managed to get this first part of the quote down, and I realized that this is the part that is making me really happy. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm folding down the baking paper. So it's about, I have about half of the words sticking out, and then I can just eyeball where I'd like it to sit and make sure I massage all those stickers down. You can see that that solid pink sticker didn't stick as well as the others, and then just pull the paper out. And I'm just doing that with each row, because even me putting them down on the paper, they didn't end up doing a nice scented thing. I've also noticed while I was doing this that the words are quite busy on the background. I do really love how that looks, but I'm contemplating coming back later with like a white gel pen or a white paint pen, and just outlining either all or some of the letters, just so that they're a tiny bit more readable. They are more readable in real life than they are on the video here. And really, this journal is just for me, so I don't have to be readable to other people. But I may end up doing that. It may be fun. I do quite often come back after the fact to paintings and journals and grab out the white pen just because I really love it. It's really fun. So on this next page, I have more of that question, what is worth doing and what is worth having? And the answer, it is worth doing nothing and having a rest. So this double page spread, I am just putting on some things that give me that feeling of nothing. And doing nothing, I think, can be looked down upon a lot by people, and like even myself, I feel the need to be busy and doing things all the time, but I've come to realize that doing nothing isn't a bad thing, and that it is quite refreshing, and it's restful and all of those sorts of things, and it helps me to do more. I think that when I don't spend a little bit of time doing nothing, I can't do as much as I do. So I am just pulling out some bits and pieces that are speaking to me, are speaking to the need for a little bit of nothing in every day. And I'm not going to use everything here necessarily, but I'm picking a few things. I don't really know what this project as a whole is going to be like. And I think at first I thought I really needed to plan it all out, and it had to be a certain way, and I had to limit what I was going to do. But I feel as I'm working on these first 2 pages in this book that I don't feel like this project needs that, and I'm probably going to enjoy it a lot more if I have more freedom. Sometimes having too much freedom can be a bad thing. You can get a feeling of being stuck and not knowing what to do. And when you can do anything, you could do anything. So who can decide? But I think also it can be a good thing, especially when it could be the roadblock that stops you from starting. If there are a lot of choices to make up front, that can also make it very hard to get moving. And I just need to start new projects and start working on them. So for this one, it felt right I haven't built a kit for this. I haven't done any of that sort of thing. And I haven't got a proper plan. But I think it's going to work, and we'll see how we go. It may be that as I work through this project, it speaks to me a bit more. I might end up working on similar things, and then I could theme it out a bit more. It might turn into something like that. But for now, I'm just going to keep it open. So I've decided to add in the word nothing to this page. I felt like that was the correct word for the feeling of this space. I am quite enjoying these letter stickers. I think that all of these colours with a little bit of the iridescent shiny is making me quite happy. And I just have pulled out a few other bits and pieces. So I have a few little papers that are fitting the colour feeling for this page. I found some word stickers that I am enjoying and liking. I found a little bit of a landscape, which for me embodies the feeling of nothing. I feel like nothing isn't about necessarily a complete absence of all things. For me, it's more about not having to fill every single moment and pausing and resting and things like that. I think that we live in a world where activity is praised above all else, and I think that that can turn into busyness, and it's not necessarily helpful all of the time. I think a lot of the time it's quite unhelpful, and who wants to be spending their effort on something unhelpful? I find that I have quite limited energy and ability sometimes, and when you're in the mindset of having to be looking busy to be valuable, you waste your energy on things that don't matter. So I'd rather take the appropriate amount of time to pause and reflect and do nothing for a while, so that I can make sure that I'm utilizing my energy for the most important things that I can be doing, and the things that are making me happier and all of that sort of thing. So I'm quite happy with how this side of the page has turned out. The papers that I used in here, I think this is a magazine paper that's on this side. I guess I chose papers I liked, but I love how it's turned out. And the other side has a very similar colour feeling, but it has a scrapbooking paper behind it, and so I feel like it's going to look quite different as well. But I think that altogether, I'm really loving the feeling of this. I do have a hard time with cutouts sometimes, And the two flowers that I am going to be adding to this page are like die cut card pictures, but I actually put them through a sticker maker. So it's something which I've had for a very long time, and you can cut out pictures and stuff and pull it through, and it puts sticker on it, like glue on the back, and turns it into a sticker. So I found these in an old project, and I did it ages ago, but it's made it so much easier to add them in here. I always find that with cutouts, you either gluing it and the glue gets all built up on the edges of it, or you're trying to washi tape it in, and it's like, well, which bit do I put sticky on? So that's worked quite well. I also have these tiny little papers. I feel like having pre-cut things that are quite small is really useful in a journal, and you can do it yourself. And I often do it with scraps. Like if I've cut down papers for a journal, I'll end up with lots of bits and pieces, and I'll chop them up. But this little packet is just one that I found online, and the colours spoke to this project. I also haven't decided if I'm really going to use photos in this journal. It may be that it's something I do sometimes and not, but this little picture of a landscape, this little sticker, I feel like introduced that feeling of illustrative and pictures without me using a photo of mine. Just being picky about the words I put in. It's something I do relatively often, is chop up word stickers so that I only have the pieces that I want in them. There we are, all done. Thank you for joining me, and I will be working on this again next week. See ya.